Hi, everyone. Welcome to the extended reading for the Divine Feminines and the Divine Masculines. I'm going to do both those lines. I started with a clean slate over here. I've got a little bit of metaphysical astrology stuff to go through. I am currently being guided to look at where Lilith is and where Priapus is. So Priapus, the asteroid, is a balance to Lilith. Lilith is a lot of things. Okay, she's the version of us that comes out when our needs aren't being met, but she's also kind of this powerful divine femininity and just the way we honor our most authentic self, in my personal opinion. And Priapus is that soothing energy that the divine masculines provide to the feminines. That's just what's showing up right now. So I'm going to start with the divine feminines. So the divine feminines are in a state of creation and fun, expansion into the fifth dimension. And I want to be clear, the fifth dimensional, we are in the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is physical. It's not La La Land, okay? It's a physical it's physical. We're sometimes there physically, okay? You can generally tell if you're there or not based on how your body feels, okay? But it's not like some Delulu fantasy land that's just energy. I mean, we're all just energy, but that doesn't have solid mass, okay? Awareness, exclusion of the 3D. It's a big shift and in the world, but not of it. So that's kind of where that came from. What I mean by that is the exclusion of the 3D means that we are actually untethering from the old matrix, from the old systems. How you go about that, the rate you go about that, the way you go about that is different for each person. But we are definitely more uncomfortable in those systems now more than ever. And our masculines are also feeling that, but they got a little more work to do. So we are untethering so that we aren't as sensitive to the energy. Does not mean that we will not traverse the 3D reality as it's breaking down with our counterpart, depending on whatever their missions are. Okay, I'm going to get a little woo-woo with that. But we will not be as sensitive. We will not take on so much of it, which I think is really beautiful. Okay, so what do we got for the divine feminines? Just overall with this lunar eclipse. Okay. Yeah, we've got a consciousness of lack and fragmented energy. Okay, this is what we are working to dissolve and release. It's really interesting because, like, even though my masculine's got a facade, right? He's got a facade, he's got a mask. Yeah, we've got joyous fun and hidden motivations. I'll get to that in just a second. But he's more fragmented on the outside and he's more solid on the inside, whereas I can be a little bit more fragmented on the inside and really solid on the outside. It's such a bizarre thing. So the story that I wanted to tell you guys, because it's the extended, because I was talking about, how our masculines don't need to be anything for us when we're solid. So my masculine's high profile, most of you know this, and I was always so insecure that I wouldn't look good enough, or I wouldn't be good enough, or I'd make him look bad, because that entire structure of society is all about, your partner making you look good. And he legit said to me one day, I don't need you to make me look good. It's my job to make me look good. Don't worry about that. I don't care. I don't care what other people think or say. So it was such a bizarre thing to come around full circle and be like, you know what? He doesn't need to be anything for me either. Because that's not his job. His job is not here. He's not here to live up to my expectations or be someone I think he should be. He's got his mom for that. Anyway, so that's kind of where that came from. And I really think this, I don't think this is something we need to fear, divine feminines. I think this is something that's recovering. We're recovering and we're reconciling our consciousness of lack and our fragmented energy. We're feeling so fragmented between the different timelines and everything that I think it's going to be like shifting. So, okay, I just want to see if there's anything that needs to come up energetically, what we're being supported with. It's not going to be like a huge, okay, that's interesting. Yeah. We've got the Strength card. Okay. We've got, because here's the thing. Oh shoot, I meant to talk about this too. Okay, I'll talk about this in just a moment. And then we've got this. We are not here. I'll be honest with you. Maybe it's a little bit of my Aries sun energy in the 8th house. I'm constantly feeling like I'm at war with things. We are not here to be at war. We are not here to be the strong one. We are strong in a different way, but we are so conditioned to be strong. We're tired. We're walking away from that. And in walking away from that, we find a sense of belonging. I feel the softening for the feminine. And this is not a false softening. This is like a real, like, I'm going to put the battle axe down because I am tired of fighting. I don't need to fight. That just draws me into the drama. I don't want to fight with my person. I don't want to fight with people in their life. I don't want to fight with people in my life. I don't want to fight with strangers on the internet. I don't want to fight. I want to lean into love, and that will make a bigger impact than any swing of an axe. I feel like we're really okay. So we've got joyous fun. I was gonna say, I think we're really moving out of that need to hold other people accountable. I have to tell you the story. So I will get to this. I'm holding it so I don't forget. I went to the store with my dad, and there was this guy there, and you could tell that he was nodding off, like he was probably on some kind of drugs. I think, I don't know if it's fentanyl that does it. Anyways, doesn't matter. The whole thing, it was, and he was like, and you have to remember, my dad was born in the 50s. He's part of the boomer generation, the white male 50s bubble. So he's like, this guy's in the store, and he's like, I'm trying to talk to him, and he's like staring over me looking like this. I'm like, what are you doing? 'Cause I didn't notice the guy. I'm like, whatever. He's like, oh, he might be stealing. He's going to be stealing stuff. You got to watch him. I'm like, this is not your store. This is not your store. You don't even know that. This is not your responsibility. But the deep need to hold people accountable and the deep need to be brother's keeper is deeply ingrained in us. And he even like walking out, like he's staring this guy down, watching everything he's doing. I'm like, Dad, that's not your job. Okay, so the reason I'm telling you this story is because we were all born to people who grew up in a generation who were taught that this is how you're supposed to be. So it makes complete sense that we want to watch everything our masculine is doing and hold them accountable in some way. That's where that deep subconscious thing comes from. We want to defend. We got to do the right thing. We got to, I don't think that's where we're meant to go. And I think that keeps us in fragmentation, because it's not loving and it's not compassionate and it's not unifying, it's separating. Okay. So the joy is fun in the hidden motivations. Look for things that light you up right now, because that's bringing you out of your lack of consciousness and it's solidifying your fragmentation. It's bringing you back to center. It's a fun way to not be so serious about leaning into alignment. We really, truly need that more than ever right now, because there are so many things that are beyond our control. And I've gotten really good. I'm really proud of myself. Like, I'll see stuff on TikTok sometimes and I actually just laugh because I'm like, damn. I'm like, I feel for those people, but I have no desire to engage in it. And it's really a lot of progress. But I really think we're shifting out of even the need to be the mother in the connection, as if our person needs to look up to us we are going to help. We help them already. We just don't realize how much, unless you understand energy in that way. But it's just so... that's interesting. I think there's a lot shifting with that. Yeah. Okay, we've got the Six of Wands. This is 100% divine feminine energy. Look at her. She's like seeing her people. Okay, but look at this, right? The overflow of love. Look at it growing things, okay? We've got self-love. We have coming home to the self, celebrating the self. We don't need to prove to anybody that we are divine. People know that. It either irritates them or they want to, so I want this is a weird slurp us up like the soup in a bowl. I don't know where that came from. Okay. We don't need to prove that to anyone. We are really, as divine feminines, and this is hard for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what that looks like. Like we've never had anything in recorded history that truly shows us what it means to be divinely feminine. We don't. We have all of these things that are close, but they're distorted through the perception of the patriarchy. Okay. I think we're just breaking down a lot. Okay. Yeah. Think for your dang self. Even if you don't like what I'm saying, you're like, this is not for me, Candy. It's not for you. And that's okay. Okay. So if you take away anything, feminines, if you take away anything, lean into joyous fun, lean into creation, lean into things that are exciting you. I talked a little bit about this in my video. Oh, shoot, I forgot to tag her. Okay, I'm going to have to go back and do that. My session with Alicia Brache, and then so I'm leaning into these other fun things. Maybe it's playing a game. Okay, playing a game that brings joy to my life helps me deal with fragmentation, come back into alignment, and get out of lack. It does not matter what it is. What matters is how it makes you feel. That's your only job right now. The second job you have, if you choose to accept it, or mission you choose to accept it, is to recognize where you're hardened to life and how that hardening makes you feel. Does it make you feel anxious or nervous or worried or sad or bad? And do you still need it? And the last thing is clear your energy, take time alone, think for yourself, feel into your path. Okay. That's what's important. All right. For the masculines. Okay. We have this. For the masculines with Priapus, divine masculines are seeking real connection and connectedness. So they may try to find that in their circle, but they won't. Nobody in their circle has that genuine connectedness. And it's almost, imagine, I think we kind of go through this as we start to wake up. I don't know about you guys. My journey was probably a little bit softer because it wasn't everybody at once. It was people here and there when you're realizing oh shit, they're not even my people, but I thought they were my people, right? It's everyone for the masculine right now. Okay. It won't feel like what they are seeking. Okay. There's a lot of yes men. There's a lot of hollowness. There's a lot of people either, talking down to them, making them feel stupid for how they feel, or they're just telling them what they want to hear, but they can feel the difference now. They can feel the difference between real connection and this false sense of connection. And it's not even the fault of the people around them. The people around them think that they're being loving and kind and connected because they're completely unconscious. So it's such there's also dream state haunting epiphanies. Those literally dream state haunting epiphany. Those are the words that came through. So they're being haunted. They're waking up feeling very haunted from their dreams. And then they're having these epiphanies from those dreams. I know it's not fun, but it's kind of funny. I kind of want to laugh at that because it's kind of funny. Okay, so let's see what we have overall for the masculines. What do we got? Yeah, letting go of those barking effing dogs. All those barking dogs in their peripheral. And then we have a decrease. So things might decrease in their life a little bit. Maybe the intensity, maybe the fear. It feels like a good decrease. It's not a decrease of letting go. It's actually, there's some kind of commitment coming through. I think it's actually things are decreasing so they can let go. And the reason they couldn't let go before, maybe things were too intense. Let's say you're about to move somewhere, but you have all this stuff going on, or you want to go travel somewhere, but you have all this stuff going on, unexpected things showing up that you have to take care of. You can't really go on vacation or go on travel with that. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, you're going to worry about it, or what it has to be taken. It's kind of like that. Like, but I think whatever this is decreasing so they can let go. And I feel very good about that. Like, I don't feel like that's me just, making shit up, but they're really letting go of the barking dogs. Like, there's so many barking dogs. Our barking dogs for the Divine Feminine are internal. They're inside our head. The masculines, they got them right in their face, which is not funny, but it sucks. Okay. So what do we have here? Oh. Okay, what do we got? Yeah, we've got the Three of Swords. This has been haunting this collective for months. I don't know if they're just impervious to the pain, or they're just so good at shoving it down. They've been sitting in this painful energy, yeah. But we do have a release. I don't know why they're giving me this analogy, but we're getting a pimple popped. Popping a pimple. Pimples, when you have that festering like pimple or zit and it hurts and then you pop it and there's relief. It feels like that, yeah. We do have the Hierophant, so this is spiritually driven, but it could have a lot to do with their more committed relationships, or the relationships that have governed authority over them in some way, like the partners or the parents or the siblings or the friends or the bosses or whoever has been driving their bus for whatever reason. These are the contracts that are closing out, and they're kind of shitty. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm so grateful that I got to wake up to all of that stuff, because I can be more conscious and be more aware. And it kind of sucks, but at times, but I feel like I have more power and authority in my life than my masculine does. And that to me means so much. So, the Judgment card, letting go of all those old stories, right? Like, those old stories are painful. It's not like, you have to remember, they reflect more of the 3D energy, right? The way the world works. The Divine Feminines, while we sometimes mimic or operate within the programming, are naturally more of the newer energy. We're the new programming, the new whatever. I don't think it's even programming, but you know what I mean. Okay, yeah, something's definitely coming to a close. It's hot. The energy's hot, yeah. He's been I'm not going to lie, sometimes he gets a little saucy with me energetically. I'm like, listen, I love the shit out of you, but you need, listen, when I had this session, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the session with Alicia, because so she was like, there's like a cord plugged into the back of your sacral and you're taking in all of this energy from like his life, and I'm just going to unplug it, but don't worry, you can plug it back later. This is a sacred space. So I keep telling him, I'm like, listen, I love the shit out of you, but this is a sacred space in here, and you can't come in here when you got all that other shit going on in your life. I don't want any of the garbage. Like, if you leave the garbage on the street, you can come into the house, but otherwise. So there's definitely something sparking in their energy where they're, like seeking out something else, but it's through this closure and release of whatever that is. Yeah. Look at that. We've got the childhood wound card, the scarcity, the lack, the fear of being left out in the cold, but there's a realization that they've always been in the cold. People have been taking up space in their house, throwing them random blankets and making them feel like they're warm, but they're not. They've been out in the cold this whole time. So yeah, I do definitely sense that something is shifting for them. I do believe whatever is going to transpire is going to be unexpected. However, because they've always been driven by divine service. And I know it's hard to realize that because we look at the choices they make and we can't sort that out because it's far too complex energetically, but They've always been in divine service. So when it's time, they will not be able to stop themselves. I know there's lots of readers out there like, oh, free will, whatever. Have you had a lot of free will with this connection in regard to those moments where you just really don't have a choice? No, because they're soul driven and they're destined. It just is what it is. It's not a lack of control or a disempowerment. It's just a part of our path. The masculines are the same. They cannot be dissuaded. They cannot be disconnected. They cannot be, I for sure have felt like, oh, they're, being disconnected, like they're being pulled off their path. That can't actually happen when it's time. So when it's time and they get an overload, they get a download, whatever that is, they're going to come in. I truly feel that. Anyways, I'm sending you all so much love and take care.